Bust it.
Hello and welcome to Political Platform, Israel. A Monday, the very first day of the week, and the APC Secretariat will be busy on Tuesday. That's when the National Executive Committee of the party will be meeting. The meeting is coming against the backdrop of the feud between the man seen as the leader of the party, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the man who is presently the chairman of the party, talking about former governor of Edo State, Odigwe Oyegun. Of course, it is one feud that did not start today. Tinubu was one of those that first went public to call for the sack of Odigwe Oyegun as chairman. And when the president appointed him recently to reconcile all the warring parties in the party across the length and breadth of the country, many wondered how the two can work together. It didn't take long before the frosty relationship came up again. Last week on this program, we promised you analysis on it, and we'll be starting with it this Monday. And in Dapchi, Yobe State, it is the federal government. It was the federal government that yesterday gave the number of girls that are missing. 110 of them are now missing, according to the federal government. The parents came up with a lesser figure, 105. It came the same day the governor of the state, Ibrahim Gaidam, accused the military of complicity leading to the abduction or missing of the girls. According to the governor, the military units deployed to the school were withdrawn a week earlier, paving the way for the attack by the Boko Haram. And we hear the tenure or the continued sitting of about 9 or 10 senators in the Senate may be under threat as they may face suspension following plans by the Ethics and Privileges Committee to begin their probe. If you recall, the Senate last week asked the committee to take up the issue of about 10 senators who criticized the Senate for going on with a recommendation of the House of Representatives to amend the Electoral Act to reorder the election. Though one of them, Ovie Omagege, quickly apologized to his colleagues. And the PDP has rejected the panel or committee set up by INEC to probe underage voters in Kanu, asking why the electoral body did not include Katsina. Is it the home state of the president? Is it because it's the home state of the president? The party spokesperson asked in a statement released yesterday. My name is Amechi Anakwe. My colleagues as usual are here with me. Uju Ejeye is in the studio.
Amechi, it's so sad. You know, I feel saddened, and that feeling has not left me even since last week about the plight of these girls. 105, 110. Even the figures are not, quite clear right now. But what is clear is that those girls are missing, probably abducted, and it is very, 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 very sad that we can have a repeat of Chibok.
The Boko Haram has not even come up to claim a responsibility, but from their modus operandi, you know it may come any moment. Don't be surprised when you see videos of the 110 missing girls being shown over the social media. Is exactly the same format they adopted in the Chibok school.
Amici, it's such a big shame, because look at the information coming out that the military that was attached to the school, the security agents were withdrawn a week before then. Why were they withdrawn? The military needs to answer that question.
Well, we expect them to also speak up, just as they had denied insinuations in the media that some units of the army were closing in on Ibrahim Shekau in Sambisa Forest some weeks ago, and were on the verge of capturing him. And the report had it that they were ordered to recede by authorities, superior authorities. The army authorities came out to deny that, say it never happened. We expect them to speak up on this issue. But so many Nigerians are wondering whether there is no link between the reported payment of ransoms to the Boko Haram for the release of some of the Chibok schoolgirls to the abduction of the Dapchi schoolgirls. They say once you pay a blackmailer, be ready to continue to pay for the rest of their lives. The insurgents may have realized that capturing girls have become gold mine, not just getting dollars in return, but also having some of their commanders who were captured
and the poor
by
girls,
the military
and the
also
poor girls
released in
suffer
return.
for it all. The poor girls suffer for it all. The female has become an endangered species in this country.
Ujama Sama is also in the studio with me.
Thank you, Amechi. I think if I have to talk like a politician, I am beginning to wonder if this is not a repeat of what happened in 2014 before the election when the Chibok schoolgirls were abducted. I want to see a play of that. I think I am trying, because yesterday I was thinking it was almost the same time that happened and this is happening. I do not know if certain people, unmarked people, are the ones behind this. When it comes to election period, they just want to make the polity tough. They want to shake it. They want, because they don't want that person to come back. That's what I think. I just hope that the federal government is able to quickly attack this one so that we don't have another repeat of the Chibok schoolgirls. And if you look at what is happening, the APC now, instead of them to concentrate on this, they can't, because there's already problem. There's fire burning in the party. Imagine two leaders are having problem and governors are supporting this. That is the same man, Ahmed Tinubu, that you sent on a mission to go and settle the party. And what we are hearing is the chairman of the party is not in good terms. Then what is the settlement about?
So many stories coming out from the APC that some governors are rooting seriously for the chairman, Oyegu, because they believe that if he continues in office, they will continue to exert influence and control over their own state national working committee. So many issues,
get a second term ticket.
Of so many of it, and that's why our friend, a journalist and a politician, Ibrahim Modibo, is in the studio, a leading member of the APC, former spokesperson of the AMPP, one of the parties that emerged and coalesced into the APC. He's already in the studio and he'll be helping us with analysis on the state of affairs in his party. Before then, take your mails and then the analysis.
It's the mail segment and I am Etenikang Akepu.
My name is Chidima Enyi. You're welcome.
We're getting started with the mail from Okochukwuka from Isuzo in Enugu State. He writes on the latest Corruption Perception Index released, and he says, the latest Corruption Perception Index, CPI, released on Wednesday by Transparency International, revealed that corruption is getting worse in Nigeria. While the country was ranked 136th in 2016, the new CPI scores Nigeria 148 in 2017 out of 180 countries surveyed. Why won't Nigeria's corruption ratings increase when it's only in this country that a lot of absurdities like snake and monkey swallowing millions of naira take place? Another reason why Nigeria is still rated high among corrupt nations is not unconnected with the fact that the present administration condones official corruption. For instance, the grass cutting scandal involving the former secretary to the governor of the federation, Baru Kachiku NNPC contract saga, reinstatement and promotion of Maina, reinstatement of NHIS boss, to name just a few, have been consigned to the dustbin of history. President Muhammadu Buhari should know that the recent report by TI is a serious indictment on his administration and that of African Union, which conferred him anti-corruption ambassador recently. God bless Nigeria.
And still in that light, and also reacting to Friday's analysis, Monday Ame in Abuja says, the Ait Political Platform crew, I listened very carefully to your Friday interview with Awal Musa Rafsanjani over the just released Corruption Perception Index CPI report by the Transparency International TI. I have huge respect for Awal Musa Rafsanjani and the anti-corruption watchdog, but I dare say the report doesn't reflect the tremendous efforts this administration has put into the fight against corruption, where those who hitherto are untouchable or treated as sacred cows were no longer spared. Similarly, juxtaposing the humongous recovery by the ICPC EFCC and the anti-graft agencies in the country, and not too favorable report from TI, it is expressly audible to the deaf and visible to the blind that this is not a true reflection of the successes that have been recorded in the fight against corruption in Nigeria. Never in the history of Nigeria have outright looting of public funds by civil and public servants become a Herculean task, thanks to the Treasury Single Account, TSA.
And Shuaibu Abdullahi in Jikwe, Abuja, writes on APC's reconciliation move. It says the letter by Ahmed Bola Tinubu to Mr. President complaining of Oyegun sabotaging his efforts towards reconciling the aggrieved APC members is not surprising. It is obvious that Tinubu and Oyegun have maintained an unhealthy relationship for a very long time, making it difficult for both of them to agree on common goals. I strongly advise these two prominent politicians to settle their differences in-house before coming out to reconcile the aggrieved party members in order to avoid further embarrassment in their party APC. There is a saying that those who want to go to equity must go with clean hands. May God guard our leaders on the right path.
That's it for the mail segment today. Keep it coming tomorrow. The political platform at yahoo.com.
Thank you so much for remaining with us. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it takes about 6 months before a successful transfer of voting unit is effected. But of course, the listener is also insisting that the production period for permanent voters card as against the temporary one should be done on a monthly basis to ensure that those that wish to vote in the 2019 elections get it in good time. And the last part of Mondame's mail to us is that the Transparency International appear not to be taking a look at the giving side or the giver side of corruption. You know, it takes two to tango. Corruption can only take place when it is given and it is accepted. And I can tell you what they did. The Transparency International is Corruption Perception Index. It is an index that measures countries whose officials, public officials, are more likely to accept bribe. I recall vividly during the time of Olusegun Obasanjo as president, he kept insisting and challenging the Transparency International to also do a different study and survey to indicate which countries are most likely, that is businessmen from a particular country, are most likely to offer. Not just about receiving, but what about those that offers? That's the argument of Monday, Ame. But you want to add something, or do we go to the APC?
What is there to add? You know, so many things are glaring. If you look at the letter sent in by our listener on other indices that may have affected the rating. I mean, these are, in fact, he even forgot the $25 billion NNPC scandal.
That is yet unresolved as we speak. Okay, let's go to the APC. Ibrahim Modibo, a stalwart of the party, is joining us.
Thank you. Good morning for Nigerians. Happy to be here at the political platform.
Okay, when the appointment was made, Tinubu, as someone to reconcile the APC, the first thought that went through my mind is he not going to assume a new position as the person that controls the party? Another thing that went through my mind is it not part of the problem? Is it not in feud with the chairman? These are the issues. Now, all these things have come to the fore now with letters coming from Tinubu to the APC chairman and copy to other offices, and a response from the chairman and a summon of the chairman to the Asura Presidential Villa.
Well, before I start, let me say, in terms of democratic credentials, I think the political platform, both nationally and internationally, has been scoring very high in terms of analysis. But I'm really touched by the sentiments expressed this morning by Ijoma, saying that APC is in total confusion and it's having serious problems. There is no democracy on the surface of the earth that does not have internal problems. That is the beauty of democracy.
Conflict is inherent.
It's inherent.
In any society.
It is in any society. Any political system that does not have conflict is as good as dead.
Even couples.
Yes, of course.
Twins do feud.
Of course. So that is the beauty of
It
democracy.
depends on how you resolve your own
Exactly. We have
conflicts.
internal conflict mechanism of resolving our problems. I can assure you that if a political party will just stay without problems, without anything, how do people come in and...
When the problems are many.
No. That is the beauty of it. And I am telling you, just watch and see. We've been on the surface, we've been under this democratic system for all through. You've seen how we resolve a lot of problems that are even more graver than this. But I'm telling you.
And it's more serious for a party in power. The conflicts in Nigeria,
yes.
we saw with the people.
Yes, Dr. Amechi, let me tell you, in both content and character, a political party, very liberal, very democratic, and one that has been getting a lot of people coming in every day. If we don't have these conflicts, if we don't have the mechanism to resolve them, why are people rushing into this party? As at this time, we are even saying that the guests, we should close it because people are so many that are rushing into this party.
In the case of Tinubu and the party national chairman, it's getting too long.
No.
The time Tinubu didn't go to the party secretariat for a very long time. So what do you have to say about that?
You see, politicians, you don't know how we work. You see, we have all this Jojo and war, but go to the night, 2, 3 a.m., 4, 5 a.m., we're all together, taking tea together, discussing. So forget about this physical contact that people must go to the secretariat before you sit down and say, these people are... No! We know how to operate. It's a smooth operation. Tinubu means well. Whether we like it or not, appreciating the demands and dynamics of professional democracy, there must be a leader. And Tinubu has been able to come out to show his potential as a leader of this party.
The appointment, the task given to Tinubu, is it not a clear indication of loss of confidence on the part of the party by the president? Because normally reconciliation should be driven by the party. But the president has said, let someone outside any organs of the party do this. That means he sees the NWC even the chairman as part of the problem.
You see, when President Muhammadu Buhari decided to come into the political top of this country, his decision was purely based on patriotic desire to positively respond to our generational challenges. And these generational challenges, this is part of them. He feels that as a government, as a head, as a leader, because once you're a president, you're a leader of the party. He feels that the National Working Committee under Oyegu seems to be very passive. He seems to be reactionary. He has not been able to come out forcefully. If I were him, before the taking over of the mantle of leadership, of bringing in Tinubu to reconcile, if I were Oyegun, I would have set the machinery in motion. I would have made a concrete committee that will move into action, seeing that most of the states, a lot of states have been having problems. And therefore his passivity, his reactionary posture is one of the things that motivates the president. If you look at the president, he feels that the party has not been doing much. And to be candid, the NWC has not been doing much because most of the time they are pro-government, pro-governors. So if you see, if he's backing the governors without actually putting on ground reconciliatory moves, it's not going to work. So Tinubu is a welcome development. It is held to this party. And I'm sure by the letter of the national leader, national chairman of the party, Oyegun, seeking for softer ground for reconciliation, I'm sure.
But the fact that Tinubu was one of the first that went public with the call for the sack of Oyegu, does it also make him a part of the problem that he needs to be reconciled with Oyegu first?
No. You see, in politics, all these are politics. Tinubu is a very powerful man. Whether we like it or not, this democracy cannot be written in gold without the name of Tinubu, whether we like it or not. Because he has always been a very strong, dynamic, and pioneer member that has been bringing in people from North and South. He's acting as a bridge, trying to mold this party into what it is today. In sub-Saharan Africa, west of Limpopo and south of Zimbabwe, there is no party as strong and dynamic, very forward-looking, very progressive like the APC.
Okay, let me ask you this question. In party politics, the NWC takes the leadership of the party.
Yes.
If you are given this kind of praise to Tinubu, and the chairman is not receiving this kind of praise, then where is party supremacy in this whole issue?
You see, if a leader is not leading very well, he should lead well. Leading well in the sense that if you have children, and these children are fighting over maybe a caraway that you put, wouldn't you come in and step in and say, look, once they hear the foot of the father is coming, if the father is dynamic in the house, the children will be attentive. But in this circumstance, it seems as if there has been, this problem of allowing things to just go the way it is without actually putting your feet on the ground. And that is why the president felt that he should step in at this right time, because elections from now is how many months or how many years? It's barely 1 year. So you have to start electionary campaigns. And because of that, he feels that all the structures, despite the fact that up to now he has not made up his mind, but he feels that...
But he'll make up his mind.
Whether he does or not, the issue here is APC will win election in 2019 comfortably. Because even if we are going to election tomorrow, I can assure you, today we are going to win elections. No qualms at all.
Let me ask, the feud between the two leaders, because if you look at it, I mean, you give it to Tinubu that he is originally the leader of the APC. Nobody can take that from him.
Yes, Uju.
I also remember that Oyegu was his nominee, that he nominated him even for the position of the national chairmanship of the party.
Yes.
At what point did the two of them go their separate ways? They've been together as members of NADECO. They went in the trenches together. They've come a long way. They hold the same political ideology. What happened along the line? Then secondly, could it also be that because of the enormous power that he wields, the president was considering his own Tinubu's political sagacity as being what can be employed to resolve the feud in the party?
You see, as I've said earlier, Uju, there is no how under this democracy. It's just like trying to fry akara. You say you will not put onions. It's not going to work. Tinubu is a stabilizing factor, whether we like it or not. And the president, knowing his powers, in politics, if you look at it, Tinubu, yes, he brought Oyegu. So what? The beauty of democracy is that there must be conflict and it must be resolved amicably. And that is why today, whether they fight or not, it's just as good as saying, how did Obasanjo, who has been praising President Muhammadu Buhari to high heavens, decided just to write that letter to him, picking up the pitfalls and then, bringing up issues pertaining to corruption, because anyone knows today that President Muhammadu Buhari cannot be found to be corrupt. His lieutenant might be, yes, and that might is just...
But he's accused of being very soft on corrupt, suspected corrupt...
Let me tell you,
associates and friends.
President Muhammadu Buhari was a military leader before. He operated under jackboot. But under a nascent democracy, you must allow the rule of law to take its course. If there's anybody that is found to be culpable, I can tell you, even if it is his son, he will deal with the person clinically.
Like the way he dealt with Babachi Alawa.
Oh.
Babachi Law is under probe. He's under investigation by the EFCC. It's not
Since thy kingdom come?
No, you see, the beauty of democracy is for us to have a playing field where rule of law operates. This is not this is not jungle justice or jackboot democracy, where you just just catch somebody and clamp him into prison. No.
There were so many that were detained by the EFCC for months. But that is, by the way, let's not deviate from
let me even ask him,
issue, which is APC.
If he could deal decisively with Dasuki, why not employ the same measures with these ones?
You see, the issue of Dasuki, even under Mobutu Sese Seko, Joseph Kasavubu, or Emperor Bokassa, or Idi Amin, there is no democracy or there is no jackboot this thing that will accept this impunity. It was that was the height of monumental impunity and looting of the treasury. How can you...
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. How can you take in coffers of this government billions of dollars, for God's sake?
No, these are allegations.
Of course,
let's not turn here.
No.
Well, let's get back to the issue of APC.
Issue, yes.
We're already out of time now.
Yes.
Now, the president appointing Tinubu to sort out the problem. Some will say confusion. Some will say regular problems in APC.
Yes.
Because he needed to put the party in the right state just before the election. Now, before now, Tinubu was seen to have been shortchanged by the party. His wife recently, just a few days ago, gave an indication to that. What did she use again? I'll remember now that he was kind of discarded. All of a sudden, Tinubu is now being seen as the man that put APC together in the first place, because there are some problems to this. Is it only when there's a problem to resolve that the prominence, the importance, or relevance of Tinubu will be appreciated?
Let me tell you, there's one thing about President Muhammadu Buhari that a lot of people don't know. There are so many people that brought him even from where he was in Daura to the political top. Look at somebody like Gamo Magaji. Up to today, has he even been given even a committee to look into even local government files? So for Tinubu to have been thought of is part of the democratic process. People like us who've been with President Muhammadu Buhari since day one in 2003. Up to 2000, all the campaigns we've been together. But today, as I'm talking to you, do I have any political appointment? No, but we're sacrificing. It's part of the sacrifice.
So more sacrifices from Tinubu.
Yeah, no, it's part of it, but his wife is there. And there is nothing that this president does without consulting Tinubu. Tinubu goes to the president. He has enviable access.
Yeah, we can
25 out of 24 hours.
From the villa.
25 out of 24 hours. Tinubu has access to the president.
Okay,
I just have
very,
this question.
very
Just this question.
Yes.
If you think that the national chairman of the party has not been doing too good, is it wrong for me to say you are buying Tinubu's idea that the man should step down?
No, I'm not saying that. You know, I like that old man. He's also a stabilizing force. Honestly,
is he older than the president?
Well, they could be equal or even older. He could be. He could be because Oyegun is a comfortable man. He has been eating good chicken, everything very robust, and
we have
the
to
man is looking good. So you don't know his
up.
age. So what I'm saying is, in essence, is the president wants this party to be on board. He wants this party to be getting every day. We'll be seeing the campaigns coming in. Let them continue to pour in. It's just like market. There's no get man.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Ibrahim Modibo, is stalwart of the APC. When we come back tomorrow, my analysis and of course some of your letters. My name is Amechi, and we do have a wonderful day.
Bust it.